been playing guitar for a year or so, and I saw this guy on TV named Doc Watson. I went, wow, that's the way you play the guitar. I studied him a long time. I remember several years later when the Will of the Circle Being Broken record came out. It was like a New Year's Eve party in my hometown over in West Virginia. And me and my friend agreed that you had to play guitar at least 20 years to get the tone that Doc Watson had. And we anxiously awaited that day. I'm here to tell you, it takes a lot more than 20 years. Anyway, Doc was the guy who synthesized so much of American music and put it all in one little package, which it all seemed to fit together, and it showed me the way. So many of us showed us the way that we could make folk music into our own music. And of course he flashed with that guitar playing, but he snuck up on you with his easy MC work and fantastic warm singing style. And he'd make a giant campground or a big auditorium sound like, make you feel like you were on his back porch with him, just sitting on his rocking chair while he played the guitar. Master entertainer. I remember playing the first gigs that Hot Rise did, where we opened a show for Doc. It was just such an honor. Doc and Merle, and later on T. Michael Coleman. And he was very friendly, very complimentary. One time he actually sat in with Red Knuckles and the Trailblazers. He had on a red satin shirt with white fringe, and he was wearing sunglasses. This was at Merle Fest, you know, on his home turf. A lot of you, probably most of you know that Doc was blind almost from birth. He was very, very self-sufficient. His dad put him on one side of a crosscut saw one time. He said, son, I'm just going to show you can do work just like anyone else. You can do anything you want to do if you set your mind to it. And he sure did. He learned all kinds of stuff about electronics. He rewired his own house without any help. He built his own tool shed. Didn't bend a single nail, he told me. And it was completely square, maybe a quarter-inch off on one side. Anyway, I got out there at the Merle Fest stage and dressed as one of the Trailblazers, and everybody was laughing. You know, he's sitting down there with this red satin cowboy shirt on. He says, why are they laughing? And they went, oh, I know. He's got this big grin on his face. He says, I know. It's these glasses. Gal's a good old pal. She works like a waterfowl when I got them deep river blues. Well, there ain't no one to cry for me. The fish all go out on a spree when I got them deep river blues. Song is a good example of what Doc could do. He took this Delmore Brothers song that they played on a tenor guitar and a standard 6-string, and he adapted the style of Merle Travis to the song. Now everybody knows it Doc's way because he approved it. Doc named his son after Merle Travis, Merle Watson. He was a great picker too. Get me down my old boat, I said sail if she floats, 'cause I got them deep river blues. I'm going to bustle shows, the times be better there I'm told, 'cause I got them deep river blues. I was up in this area in February. Some of you may have seen the show of Danny Nicely's annual concert over somewhere near here in Purcellville. The next day I went down to Mike Seeger's house and bought a couple of Mike's old instruments from his widow Alexia, and I played a gig in Boone, North Carolina. There was a snowstorm coming in, and I figured figured after that, that next day when the snow was coming out, I probably ought to head back to Nashville. But I kept thinking, I'm really close to where Doc lives. Every time I drive up and down 81, I think maybe I should go over to Wilkesboro, or go over to Boone rather, and look up Doc. And of course, a couple times I'd done such a thing, or I'd called him and felt like I was bothering him, and I oftentimes didn't want to bother the man. He'd already given me plenty. But he was getting up in years. He was almost 89 at that time. And as most of you know, he died in May. So I'm really glad that I didn't get the gumption up. Calling up God is kind of difficult. It was a Sunday. But I got the nerve to call Doc up, and he said, "Who's this?" I said, "Tim O'Brien." He said, "I don't know you." Well, I said, "Doc, I'm just one of your fans. I've followed you so long. You've changed my life." And his his daughter Nancy was there in the background. She said, "Daddy, who's it on the phone?" And he said, "That's what's your name, son?" I said, "Tim O'Brien." He said, "Tim O'Brien." She said, "Oh, Daddy, that's that fiddle player that plays at Merlefest." He goes, "Oh, you're the fiddle player that plays at Merlefest." It wasn't very specific, if you know what I mean. But he warmed to me. He got the idea. He remembered my sister Molly and I singing together over there. Later on, he remembered Hot Rods. One thing led to another. He's talking about getting saved, talking about Rosalie, his wife, being in the hospital for a whole year, and how she couldn't even talk to him anymore. He wanted to get out. They could have a couple more good years together. And then one thing led to another. I got invited up to the house, and against my best judgment, I did. Instead of beating the snowstorm off the mountain, I went right into it. I got up there. I finally found the house, and I shut off the engine of my car, and I could tell for sure I was there because I heard singing and playing through the glass door, and I could see Doc in there, sitting there with his guitar. He was singing an old folk song called "While Roving on a Winter's Night," and I'll tell you what, it was just perfect. The snow coming down. He played a great little guitar lick at the end of the song. It was just flawless. I waited till he was finished and knocked on the glass door. He said, "Slide her open, she's unlocked." I went in there, I said, "Doc, you're playing your guitar." I said, "Okay, if I bring mine in?" He said, "That'd be just fine." I have a picture of him holding this very guitar that day. It's a great honor. Anyway, Nancy had gone. It was just the two of us there for about 3.5 hours. Tell me all kind of stories about working on cars, traveling around, showing me licks on the guitar, singing old songs like John Henry, The Worried Blues. He kept talking about a certain guitar he had called a Dana Bourgeois. He said, that guitar, it's a dreadnought size, but it's got a cutaway. I said, "I think I've seen you play that." He said, "It's a really good guitar." He said, "But we had a picking party here one day, and somebody moved the guitar where it shouldn't have been, and I stepped right in it." He said, "I was sick about it. I was even afraid to tell the maker about it, but he found out." He said, "Send it back to me." He said, "He put a new top on that guitar." He said, "I believe it's better than it ever was." He kept talking about that thing over the next hour, and finally got up. He said, "I'm going to go get that guitar." He stands up. He reaches behind him for a doorknob, which it turns out it was the basement door. He starts heading down the steep stairway, and I'm going, "Oh my."